Breaking news out of Washington. President Obama nominating two gentlemen to become members of the Federal Reserve Board. We've got Jerome Powell. He is former Undersecretary of the Treasury in George H.W. Bush's administration. And also Jeremy Stein, economics professor, Harvard University. For more context and information about these two gentlemen, we're joined by Scott Lanman. He wrote the story for Bloomberg. Scott, good to have you with us here on Surveillance Midday. What can you tell us about both of these gentlemen? Why would the president be choosing a Harvard economist and a former Undersecretary of the Treasury in the senior Bush administration?
Well, this goes back to a few months ago, actually in June, when Peter Diamond, the Nobel laureate from MIT, was nominated to the Fed and basically ran into a wall of opposition from Republicans in Congress, ended up withdrawing his nomination. So the administration was kind of sent back to the drawing board and tried to figure out who can they come up with to get through Congress this time. And so they settled on having one person with somewhat Democratic ties like Jeremy Stein, and then Jay Powell, who was an undersecretary in a Republican administration, so that may give them a better chance of getting through Senate confirmation. At the same time, Jay Powell was seen as friendly to the administration because he took the position during the whole debt ceiling debate that actually allowing a default, which was the position of some Republicans, would have been very detrimental to the economy.
Can you tell us how many members to this Federal Reserve Board, and what kind of powers will both of these gentlemen have?
They're going, if they get confirmed, there'll be 2 of 7 members on the Board of Governors. Ben Bernanke is still the chairman. Governors tend to, it's rare that they have a major influence on the direction of monetary policy or other things that the Fed does. And from the commentaries that we've seen so far, both of these gentlemen's names have been out in the press already. Neither one is expected to have a radical effect on the direction of the Fed or change Ben Bernanke's mind or other people's minds about the way things are going. But as President Obama said in the press release, they have an impressive knowledge of economic and monetary policy, tremendously qualified to serve in these roles. They could contribute to the debate in ways that maybe we're not aware of yet. But both have some experience dealing with banking policy or regulatory policy. And Mr. Powell, in fact, used to be an executive with the Carlyle Group. He served as an investment banker on Wall Street. In fact, he spent most of his career in the private sector, as opposed to just a couple years when he was an undersecretary in the first Bush administration. Jeremy Stein, he's been a professor for most of his career, but he did spend a few months in 2009 advising Treasury Secretary Tim Geithner.
All right, I want to thank you very much. Scott Lanman joining us from Washington.